So I'm sitting here with Aimee Lee, who makes paper here in Cleveland and is world renowned. And where were you born, Aimee?
I was born in New York City, and it was in a Korean neighborhood called Flushing in Queens.
Yeah. What made you interested in, where'd you go to college?
I went to Oberlin College, and I started making books there. I was an art major, and my last semester I started taking this artist books class, and I just fell in love with this process of being able to bring together all these things that I really enjoyed, like writing and drawing, telling stories, and being able to use a lot of different media to create something that it's a pretty new medium for artists, but it's an artist's book, so it's something that's made wholly by an artist. It can be a collaboration. I usually work by myself, and I like to use all of my own text for the most part, my own images, and because I'm a paper maker, I like to use all my own paper.
But you originally were a music major, right?
I came into Oberlin thinking I was going to be a violinist, and then I found out pretty quickly that I was not really as good as what you needed to be to become a professional.
And so who taught you to make who taught you about paper making? Who was your mentor?
Well, I started making paper actually in grad school at Columbia College in Chicago. And so my first teacher was Andrea Peterson, and she's still living out in Indiana. She would commute from Indiana, but she taught us in Chicago. And then I took classes with other teachers here and there, but once I decided that I really wanted to learn Korean papermaking, I went to Korea and studied with Chang Sung-woo, who was at the time the eldest, well, he's still the eldest son, but his father has passed away, but the eldest son of the national treasure of Korea in papermaking.
And how did you get that connection?
I actually had found an American who had, I think actually two Americans who had studied with him or met him years ago. And so first we made an email connection, because in Korea you can't just cold call people. You have to know people that they know, otherwise they won't even open the door. So they made email connections, and then I emailed, and he said, when you get to Korea, just get in touch. And so when I got to Korea, he lives further away from Seoul, where I was at the time, but he had a shop in Seoul where he sold his papers that his wife ran, and I asked his wife if I could visit him, and she said no. And so I gave up first, and then tried all these other ways of finding other paper makers. I traveled all over the country, and pretty much everyone said, no, we can't teach you, you're a woman, this is weird, like, why do you even want to do this? You're a college-educated American. This is usually done by people who don't have a lot of money and don't have a lot of other prospects. So I lucked out. I think it was in the summer that I went, and his wife said no. And then in November or December, my aunt said, oh, it was like my friends or my cousin's new daughter-in-law just got a new job working for some craft organization, and they're doing a paper event at this museum. You should come. And so we went, and it happened to be that my teacher and his father were there doing a demonstration. And then after it was over, my aunt basically just elbowed her way through the crowd and presented me and was like, my niece really wants to learn this, and please let her study with you. And so we talked, and he invited me to visit. After I said, where can I learn this special Korean way of making paper? And he said, well, the only place you could do it is at our paper mill. And I had already gone to so many others, and I told him, these are the places I went. And so I think that proved to him that I was really serious, that I was willing to travel out and get rejected by people.